You know that feeling when you rewatch a movie and realize, wait, this was actually way smarter and way funnier than people gave it credit for? That's Idle Hands, a horror comedy about a stoner whose hand gets possessed by the devil. Sounds ridiculous, right?
That's messed up, man.
But under all that absurdity is something that perfectly captured late 90s teen chaos, pop culture satire, and that post-Scream self-awareness, even if no one was ready for it. Released at the worst possible time, buried by controversy and written off as too dumb to die, Idle Hands has since grown into exactly what it always wanted to be. A cult gem that's aged better than most of its flashier peers. When Idle Hands dropped in 1999, horror was still reeling from Scream's meta success. Studios were greenlighting every hip horror script with teenagers, snarky humor, and soundtracks full of alt-rock hits. But Idle Hands had terrible timing. Just days before its release, the Columbine tragedy struck, and suddenly teen violence, dark humor, and horror were under a microscope. Many theaters pulled the film. Marketing disappeared overnight. Critics called it tasteless, stoner trash, too violent. But time did something funny to Idle Hands. Once it hit DVD and cable reruns, people started to see it for what it really was, an absurd, smartly self-aware horror comedy that understood teenage apathy better than most straight comedies of its time. The movie was directed by Rodman Flender, produced by Sony, and shot right when teen horror was at its peak. Devon Sawa, hot off Final Destination and Casper, plays Anton, a lazy suburban teen whose hand becomes literally evil. Fun fact, the physical acting Sawa does as his hand goes rogue is surprisingly brilliant. It's slapstick, creepy, and hilarious all at once, somewhere between Bruce Campbell in Evil Dead 2 and Jim Carrey in The Mask.
That's correct, Wendy. We all wear masks.
And the supporting cast? Pure late 90s gold. Seth Green and Eldon Henson as undead best friends, Vivica A. Fox as a demon hunter, and a young Jessica Alba as the girl-next-door love interest.
Look, do you want to come inside for a second and talk? Yeah? Okay.
It's chaotic, but it's the kind of chaos that defined that MTV-infused era. Here's the thing most people missed. Idle Hands wasn't just being dumb for the sake of being dumb. It was satirizing an entire generation's detachment. The post-grunge, pre-millennium kids who were too lazy to care. Anton doesn't want to be evil. He's just so bored, so high, and so apathetic that evil literally takes over his hand while he's flipping through TV channels. That's the joke, and the warning. The film takes that idle hands are the devil's playground proverb and turns it into a Gen X stoner tragedy, wrapped in ridiculous gore and tongue-in-cheek humor. Visually, it's packed with clever horror homages, from Evil Dead-style camera moves to over-the-top practical effects. The gore feels comic booky, the tone unhinged, and the soundtrack, with bands like The Offspring, makes it a time capsule of late 90s youth culture. On a rewatch, Idle Hands feels like the ultimate what if MTV made a horror movie? And somehow, that's not an insult. You start to notice how much it predicted the slacker horror wave that came after. Movies like Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, or even parts of Zombieland.
So do you have any regrets?
Garfield, maybe?
It's that blend of irony, comedy, and gore that today's audiences love. Idle Hands might have been dismissed as dumb fun back in 1999, but on rewatch, it plays like a dark mirror to the times, and even more so to today. It's chaotic, it's irreverent, and it's full of energy. The kind of movie that doesn't just ask you to suspend disbelief, it asks you to laugh while doing it. Because sometimes the horror we need isn't about monsters or ghosts, it's about how easy it is to let our hands and our lives just drift into autopilot. And Idle Hands still nails that message, one gory laugh at a time. So, if you haven't revisited Idle Hands lately, maybe it's time to give it another shot. It's weirder, sharper, and a lot more relevant than you remember. Because in the world of horror comedy, sometimes the laziest movies have the smartest things to say.